Take a breath. Feel that cool, refreshing oxygen filling your lungs? To you, it is the essence of life. But 2.4 billion years ago, that same breath would have been a lethal dose of corrosive poison. Welcome back to the Prime Archive. In our last deep dive, we explored the green Sahara, a blink of an eye in geological time. Today we go further back, to a time when Earth was not our home. It was an alien world. A world where the sky was orange, the seas were iron-rich green, and the dominant life forms thrived in a thick methane-heavy atmosphere. Then something happened. A biological revolution so silent, yet so violent, it triggered the first and perhaps most devastating mass extinction in the history of the universe. This is the story of the Great Oxidation Event, the moment life created its own greatest enemy, oxygen. To understand the catastrophe, we have to look at the archive of the Archean Eon. For nearly 1.5 billion years, Earth was ruled by anaerobes. These were single-celled organisms that didn't just tolerate a lack of oxygen, they required it. To these creatures, oxygen was a radical, corrosive gas. It tears apart organic molecules. It rusts metal. It destroys DNA. The Earth of this era was a purple Earth or orange Earth. Because there was no ozone layer, the sun's UV rays hammered the surface. But in the shallow coastal waters, a new kind of rebel was evolving. Enter Cyanobacteria. These tiny organisms figured out a cheat code for energy. They stopped scavenging for chemicals and started harvesting the sun through photosynthesis. It was the most efficient energy source ever discovered, but it had a byproduct, a waste gas. That waste gas was oxygen. For millions of years, the Earth tried to defend itself. As cyanobacteria pumped out oxygen, the planet's natural sinks absorbed it. The oceans were full of dissolved iron. When the oxygen touched the iron, it rusted. It fell to the ocean floor in massive red blankets. Today, we see the evidence in our minds. The banded iron formations are the physical scars of this archive planet-wide chemical war. But eventually, the iron ran out. The sinks were full. Around 2.4 billion years ago, the oxygen began to leak out of the oceans and into the atmosphere. This is the tipping point. For the anaerobic masters of the world, it was an apocalypse. They couldn't run. They couldn't hide. The very air they touched began to burn their membranes. This was the first mass extinction, not caused by an asteroid or a volcano, but by a pollution crisis created by life itself. But the Great Oxidation Event didn't just kill through chemistry. It killed through climate. Before oxygen, the Earth was kept warm by a thick blanket of methane, a potent greenhouse gas. As oxygen flooded the sky, it reacted with the methane, converting it into carbon dioxide. While CO2 is a greenhouse gas, it's much weaker than methane. The heat-trapping blanket was ripped away. The temperature plummeted. The Earth entered the Huronian glaciation, the longest and coldest ice age in history. For 300 million years, our planet was a Snowball Earth, a frozen, white wasteland where life was pushed to the absolute brink of total annihilation. This is the irony of the Prime Archive. In its attempt to flourish, life nearly froze the entire planet to death. From the ashes of the frozen, rusted world, a new type of life emerged. Those organisms that survived the oxygen holocaust did something incredible. They adapted. They learned to use the poison, oxygen as a high-energy fuel. By learning to breathe it, life gained access to a massive new power supply. This led to the rise of eukaryotes' complex cells with a nucleus. These are the ancestors of every plant, every animal, and every human being watching this video. Without the Great Oxidation Event, without that original global disaster complex, life would never have happened. We are the children of a catastrophe. The orange sky turned blue. The green sea turned blue. The alien Earth died so that our Earth could be born. The Great Oxidation Event teaches us a terrifying truth found in the Prime Archive. Life does not just adapt to its environment. Life changes its environment. Sometimes it changes it so much that it destroys itself, only to pave the way for something even more complex. We look at the blue sky today and see peace, but history remembers it as a battlefield of molecules. What is the next great change waiting in our atmosphere? Only time and the archive will tell. If you enjoyed this journey into deep time, hit the subscribe button for the Prime Archive. If you missed our last video on the Green Sahara, you can find it in the end screen here. This is the history of the world you thought you knew.